Hi everyone, I'm Adam Brady of Straight Class Warrior JKD and RevisedReality.com. Welcome back to Kettlebell Basics. This is lesson number 6, which is the Kettlebell Snatch. So the Snatch is really the workhorse of kettlebell training. This is the exercise that a lot of what we've been doing has kind of been building up to. Now, you can get great training with the 5 exercises we've shown you to begin with, but if you really want to take your cardiovascular strength and your shoulder strength to the next level, the Snatch is an absolute must. Now, it's a great exercise, but it's very complex in all of the nuances of its movement. And to get good at it, it's just like all the other exercises, it's going to take time. But of all the exercises so far, this one will probably take the most time for you to start to feel comfortable with, because you can watch me doing the Snatch or watch somebody snatching and you're like, oh, that looks so great, and then you just start whipping a kettlebell around, and if you're not very careful and understand the unique mechanics behind the Snatch and how to build your way up, it's kind of like a 3-stage rocket that I'm going to explain here in a moment. You have to understand all those pieces and how they go together, otherwise you're going to get hurt, or you're not going to be able to get the form, or you're going to bang up your forearm, something fierce. So you just have to really understand and break this movement down and be very careful as you make your way through it, because it looks simple, and once you get it and you've memorized it and it's become part of your nervous system, it will feel natural and simple. But until that time, it's going to be kind of a progressive process for you. So be very patient with yourself, take it easy, and move mindfully through this whole thing. And once again, you'll see once you start doing snatches, this is the exercise that will gas you faster than anything you can possibly imagine. And this is the exercise that they use as the testing criteria in so many different schools of strength, whether it's Strong First or the RKC or Action Strength, of repping out as it's usually 100 snatches within a 5-minute period. And depending on your age or the kettlebell size, that can be ridiculously exhausting. So you just have to go at a good pace and build up your strength, build up your oxygen levels, and all the things that you need to feel really good and strong with the kettlebell snatch. So take your time as you move through this process. So what I'm going to do, let me just show you what the snatch looks like, and then I'll break it down and we'll work through it in a step-by-step fashion. So the snatch is a ballistic, just like the swing and the clean. So we want to think about it loading up just the same way that we have for the swing, where we're about a foot and a half behind the kettlebell. Good position, sink down, feel that base, and get that nice rooted feeling. Now I've tilted the camera up a little bit more so you can see the top of the kettlebell. Unlike the press where you don't really have to see the top of the kettlebell, I need you to see how this thing soft lands on my arm during the snatch. So you're not going to see as much of the lower stuff, but it's just the same as the swing. So just remember those pieces. It'll be like a one-arm swing that's carried the whole way up to this position here, like the top of the press, but as opposed to it being a press where we're kind of locking out, it's much more of a fluid movement, and then it swings right back down using the same hike back principle that we talked about in the clean. So let me just run through. Let's do 3 on the right, I'll switch swing, and then do 3 on the left so you can see what it looks like, and then I'll break it down for you. So good position, sink down, neutral spine, hinge from the hips. Reach, arm out for base, sink into your hips, and then I'll do a swing just to start, to kind of lay the groundwork, grease the groove. And here's a snatch the whole way up. Switch swing, and swing. And park it. So what's happening here is I'm swinging, and then I do a little bit of a pullback, and then I scoop under it and I punch through. So the kettlebell soft lands on my arm just for a moment, and then as soon as it gets up there, I bring it back, and I do it all over again. So as I mentioned, it's kind of like a 3-stage rocket. There are 3 phases of this whole thing. The swing is the initial liftoff, and this is where you get all the power. It's very easy to think that with the snatch, it's all about arms and do this, and that'll gas you out so fast, and that's not the form you want. It's the hips that get it up here, and then it's more nuanced for the 2nd and 3rd stages. So the main drive is the liftoff, which comes from the swing. We've already done that. You've probably become practice with the swing and are used to this snapping motion. You need that, so don't forget that you have to have that to lift off to go into the 2nd and 3rd stages of the snatch. The second stage is what we call the high pull. So you have to bring your arm back a little bit. You're kind of engaging your lats to pull back so you can scoop under for the last part. So the high pull is almost a separate exercise in and of itself, in which you're pulling the kettlebell back right about to your head, and then it goes under from there. So when it gets incorporated into the snatch, the high pull is kind of scaled down. It's not as full. So let me show you the high pull. This is a great preparatory exercise, and I strongly encourage this. This has really, really, really helped me build my snatch and work on it again and again until you've got this form. So I'll do a couple rounds of swings, and then I'll start doing the high pull, and I'll do it on each side. But basically what it is, it's going to be a swing that I'm then, when it gets up to right about my head height, I'm going to pull my arm back. So I'm engaging my lat. I'm going to bring the kettlebell back close to right around my head, right around here. So it's off to the side of me, and then I'll hike it back, and again. So you really start to develop those big pulling back muscles as well for this movement. Okay, so just like, because it's a modification of a swing, it's kind of in between the swing and the snatch, same setup. Everything works the same way. Sink your heels down, deep breath in, hinge, grab kettlebell, hand out. Hike it back. Here's a normal swing, swing, one more swing, and then the next one's going to be high pull, high pull, high pull. And switch opposite side, swing, 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 and high pull, high pull, high pull. Park it and down. So this high pull is what prepares and gets your arm out of the way so you can shoot up for the last portion, which is the punch. So first stage, swing. Second stage, high pull. Third stage is the punch. And this uses the least amount of energy. Your hand, if you remember taming the arc and getting underneath the kettlebell for the clean, same thing. Your hand is going under, so you're just like punching through. And you have to do this in a way so that you scoop under the kettlebell. If you don't do that, as you get to the top, in bottom up position, as you're scooping up, what will happen is this weight will drop right on your forearm. And up to that height, you're going to feel that, and you may even lose control of it. It's going to bruise up your forearm. It's not going to be pretty. So you need to get used to the scooping motion. So it's a swing, pull, and then scoop, and punches up. And the high pull, as I mentioned, is not as big as we were doing it as an isolation exercise, or separate, I shouldn't say isolation, but as a separate exercise unto itself. It's not as the whole way back, but it still comes up, pull back, and then scoop under. And the turn, that's just me adding that in there just to emphasize how you have to get under it to punch it up. And this takes practice. This takes a lot of practice to get that soft landing. And in the beginning, you may feel the tendency is to hold the handle tighter to create friction and slow the descent of the kettlebell. It's not really the idea. You want the punch through to be so smooth that it just comes right under. Nice and soft and super easy, and that takes practice. It takes time to get used to where that nice little groove is so you can find it. Especially as you're doing more and more reps, you've got to get comfortable with this, because the beauty of the snatch and it building its overall power for your body is in the repetitions. Doing 3 or 4 snatches, that's great, but doing 30, 40, 50, a ladder up and a ladder down, those really, really get your heart rate high, and it's great conditioning for your overall body. You do 10 minutes worth of snatches, and whatever set and progression you feel is comfortable for your body, and that's all you need. Your heart rate will get really high, you'll break an enormous sweat, your body will feel strong, because all of these things are coming into play together. So be patient with yourself, be careful, be safe, but I strongly recommend that you start out working the high pull. So let me just turn so you can see this side of the high pull, and then you can continue to build on that. So we've got the swing, so here's a swing, and then high pull, snatch, and park. So getting this movement, practicing that, it takes time to grease that groove, and to become more and more comfortable with it. Now, you'll notice, and you may have seen on the last couple of reps, when your hand goes up, because of that soft landing, once you get the body mechanics to get under the kettlebell as it comes around, your grip doesn't even have to hold on as strong. My hand is open, and it's just coming down to let it rest comfortably on your forearm. So lots of practice, lots of time to work on this, and build your way up. And I'll show you a combination in the next video that allows you to kind of ladder your way up and work through the high pull to get up to the snatch and feel more and more comfortable with it. But it's an incredible exercise. I recommend that you work them in to your program slowly, take time to progress. It's very easy if you get bit by the kettlebell bug like I did, and you see the snatch test requirements, like I gotta do this, I've gotta make my way up to it immediately. Just make sure that you take it slow and carefully, because this will really bang up your forearms if you're not careful. And if you get injured, or if it doesn't feel right for your body, you're not going to enjoy it, and then you're just going to give up on it. But it is such a powerful move that I strongly recommend that you invest the time and the energy to make it work. And as I've said before, these videos are meant to be just a basic kicking off point for you. So if you have access to a good instructor who can really help you refine your form, that's so valuable when it comes to kettlebell training, because you can watch all the videos and read the books you want, but until you have somebody there to spot you, especially on these more complex movements like the snatch, it's really beneficial to have somebody help you through that so they can see what you can't and help you understand where your power chain might be buckled, or where you may be leaking energy, or where your form is off. So investing in something like that is certainly worth its weight in kettlebells. So just take it slow, take it easy, and have fun with it. Practice is what's going to get you there. Think about that 3-stage rocket, and think about the importance of a liftoff. Just one more key note about this is that the stronger your swing, your single arm swing is, the less work the high pull and the punch will have to do. And you'll feel like it almost kind of glides up there because you've driven so strong with your legs. And you'll absolutely need this if you beef your weight up. So I'm just going to use the 44-pounder now, and the form is the same, but I need more drive. It's not going to be me yanking back harder or punching up harder. It's going to be really making sure that I snap to get the lift high enough and then make my way up for the full snatch. So I'm just going to do a couple warm-up swings, and then I'll go up into the snatch from there. Three. Switch. Here we go. Park it. And there you go. And I'll admit, I'm still working on my form as I increase my weight. Like the standard for RKC and for action strength and for strong first is a 53-pound kettlebell to do snatches with. And I have a very long lever because I have long arms, so it's kind of working my time to put in the reps and the time to build my form to get strong with those snatches. So just be mindful also of your hands. Like right now, it's hot, I'm sweating a lot. So even with these good kettlebells, you may want chalk. This is the one exercise where you really need to make sure you can hang on to that kettlebell. Not necessarily as you get up to the punch at the very top, but the rest of the way through the movement. As you hike it back, as your hands start to sweat, if you're building up calluses, you really need to make sure that you can hold on to that thing. Because if you let go of that, at any point, you better get out of the way. And that's not safe, of course. So anyway, without rambling, that's the idea behind the kettlebell snatch. Work it, practice it, train it mindfully and safely, and it will deliver incredible results for you. Thanks for watching.